I have right now with me Dan and Emi, so thank you guys for being here.
It's great to be here.
Thank you.
Awesome to have you. So we have a ton of questions for you, but before we get to those, we want to hear from you guys on the live stream. So what we'd like to know from all of you is, what do you most likely see yourself using LinkedIn Talent Insights for your company? So your options are hiring strategy, employer branding, geolocation decisions, or competitive intelligence. So share your vote now using the hashtag TC18Live with the letter that corresponds to your answer, and we'll share our results later. And also a reminder, guys, we want to keep hearing your questions. We want to get as many answers as we can, so post those questions using the hashtag TC18Live. All right, with that, are you guys ready to jump into some questions?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Here we go. All right, so first question we have for you, who is the audience for Talent Insights? Who is this product really designed for?
Yeah, well, it's primarily designed for a talent acquisition audience. So the people that we see using it the most are leaders of talent acquisition. So whether they're managers or directors, workforce planners, people in people analytics roles, as well as employer branding, and of course, recruiters.
Awesome. Very cool. That's a lot. That's a lot of audiences.
It's a lot. Well, there's a lot of different use cases that you just went through. And so there's, depending on the use case and the frequency and kind of the strategic role that these types of insights are going to play within the organization, different people are going to come to bat in terms of needing this information and sharing it across their company. Awesome.
So in terms of the data that we have, how representative is LinkedIn data of the actual market?
Great, Marty. That's a question we actually get quite frequently.
Yeah.
Today, LinkedIn has over 575 million members that are on the platform, and this is globally. This is actually growing at a pretty rapid clip. So we're adding about 2 members per minute, or sorry, 2 members per second. And one of the great things about LinkedIn is that we're actually very well represented in terms of the professional workforce globally. So if you look at the top 30 economies around the world, we actually have the majority of professionals in all of those economies.
Awesome. 2 members per second. So
Yeah.
we just got like 80 members right there. That's a win right there. So when we talk about Talent Insights in the data that we have in the tool, how does that differ from what's available in Recruiter? Because we have things like Search Insights in Recruiter.
Absolutely. So the 2 products, the 2 solutions are really for different purposes. So for those that aren't familiar with Recruiter, it is our primary sourcing tool.
Yes.
So it is a way for recruiters to search for and find candidates with the right skills or the right experience to meet a particular requisition or open role. So that is often used much more on a kind of single basis of, hey, we have this open role, we need to fill it. How do we find someone? What are the companies that they might be working at? What are the types of skills that we should be searching for in order to get the best possible candidate? When we talk about Talent Insights, we're thinking at a much more macro level. Let's think about, as we go into 2019 planning, for example, what are the locations that we should be thinking about to find the best pool of talent? Or how can we think about our employer branding strategy as it relates to peers in the market? So when we think about the role that Talent Insights plays, it's at a much more macro level. I think there's also some insights that are simply available in Talent Insights that aren't going to be in Recruiter. So things like talent flows or trends over time or specific information on companies or competitive data. All of that is information that for the first time we are making accessible on demand to our customers, which is really cool and what's really exciting and unique about Talent Insights.
Yeah, I mean, it's all right at their fingertips.
Exactly. That's
amazing.
Yeah, it's something that actually, excuse me, sorry, but something
please.
that our customers have been asking for years, actually. So access to this level of data. We often see that when you get a little bit of information, when you get a few insights, it begs a question for more. You want to dig a little bit deeper. And so they've been coming to us asking for this type of information. And now we're actually able to give it to them in a really usable and ingestible way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the customer success team, and I've heard use cases where whole offices have been planned based on that type of workforce planning and knowing where the talent is. Like, that's monumental. Like, where buildings are a result of these kind of things.
Absolutely. People are choosing locations for offices. People are uncovering competitive threats that they weren't aware of. And it just makes them smarter about how they can approach the talent market as a whole.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So you mentioned skills before. Is that there's skills data in the Talent Insights tool? Where does that come from?
Yeah, sure. So the skills data in Talent Insights comes from a variety of sources, mainly from a member's profile.
Okay.
So there are over 35,000 standardized skills that we have in LinkedIn's skills taxonomy. And the way that we're actually figuring out what skills a member has is using machine learning. So we can identify skills that a member has that's based on things that they've explicitly added to their profile.
Okay.
The other thing that we'll do is we'll look at the text of the profile. So there's a field of machine learning called natural language processing. We're basically using that, and it's scanning through all the words that are on a member's profile. And when we can determine that it's pertaining to the member as opposed to the company or another subject, we'll say, okay, we think that this member has this skill. And we'll go ahead and look at other attributes like their title or the company to make sure that they actually are very likely to have that skill. And then the last thing that we'll do is actually look at the skills that a member has and figure out what are skill relationships. So as an example, let's say that a member has Ember, which is a type of JavaScript framework. Well, because we know that they know Ember, they also know JavaScript. So if somebody's running a search like that, we'll actually surface them in the results. And I think that the most important, this is, I'm throwing out like a lot of data points here, but I think the reason why this is helpful and the real benefit to users of the platform is when you're searching, you want to get as accurate a view, of the population as possible.
Yeah,
and what we're trying to do is look at all of the different signals that we possibly have to represent that view.
Yeah, it sounds like a million different touch points come together here to really kind of create that.
Absolutely.
Amazing. That's awesome. So in terms of jobs data within the tool itself, like where does that come from?
Yeah, I'm happy to take that one as well.
Yeah.
So I think that there's often a perception that most of the data is directly from LinkedIn and stuff that's posted on LinkedIn, and jobs data is one notable exception to that. So yes, people, plenty of companies and people will post jobs on LinkedIn, and that information gets surfaced. But we are also the world's largest aggregator of jobs. So at this point, there's over 20 million jobs that are on LinkedIn.
20 million?
20 million jobs that are on LinkedIn. And the way that we're getting that information is we're working with over 40,000 partners. So these are job boards, ATSs, direct customer relationships, and we're collecting all of those jobs, standardizing them, showing them on our platform. And the benefit is not just for how it's displayed in Talent Insights. Mm-hmm. The benefit is also when members are searching on LinkedIn.com, we're giving them as representative a view of the job market as possible.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow, this is awesome. So a question just came in from the stream. Do I need to have LinkedIn Recruiter to get Talent Insights, and how much does it cost? Everyone wants to know.
Everyone wants to know.
Literally the money question.
I will take that question.
Okay.
So no, you don't need LinkedIn Recruiter in order to use this product. This is a separate product. So it is also sold separately outside of Recruiter.
Okay.
And in terms of the cost, it really depends. Of course, is always the answer, but it depends on the size of your company, and it depends on the needs that you have in terms of accessing these types of insights and how you'd want to distribute that across your organization.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah.
And if someone was interested in getting Talent Insights, how would they get more information? Where do we go? What's their first step if a company wants to move forward?
Absolutely. Well, so if you're already working with LinkedIn, I think the best step is to reach out to your relationship manager or your primary contact at LinkedIn to get more information. They would be able to discuss your needs and provide a demo. And if you're not working with LinkedIn yet, you can go to the LinkedIn.com website, which I believe, I don't have the URL off the top of my head, but I think it's the business site, and of course, just look up Talent Insights.
Okay.
Yeah.
So clearly, you guys know a lot about this product. This has probably been your baby for quite some time.
Yeah.
What are your favorite things about the solution?
I'll let Dan speak first.
Sure. So I think one of my favorite things about Talent Insights is how it basically takes the entire world, digitizes it, and represents it in a way that's super easy for people to understand. We've received a lot of these questions at LinkedIn, and from companies, from users who basically said, "Hey, I'm working on a strategy project, or I'm trying to inform my recruiting strategy or employer branding, and I need information." And historically, it's been either impossible for them to get it or very expensive if they've had to work through a consulting firm or try to aggregate the data themselves. And I think another important point is that the people who are asking these questions, they're not really. Oftentimes, they're not trained data scientists, right? These are questions that are coming from business, other stakeholders,
hiring managers.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in many ways, this is a new world for them. And what we're trying to do is basically surface this information in a way that's really easy to understand, easy to digest, easy to share as well. And so, my favorite things are just simply, how usable and how intuitive the overall experience is, and how easy it is to extract information from this and share it with other stakeholders. Because ultimately, having access to the information is only half the battle. You also need to learn how to apply it, how to drive impact, and we want to make that entire process as easy as possible.
Awesome. Emi?
I'll keep
Just
it quite
a solid
simple.
+1?
Yeah, I'll give that a solid +1. But honestly, my favorite thing is the reaction of our customers and of our key clients when they see this product.
Yeah.
I think we've heard time and time again, wow, this is going to change the way I do my job. And that, sitting in the seats that we sit in, that response is just really exciting.
Yeah, I heard some actual oohs and ahs
Yeah.
from people on the floor, like legit oohs and ahs,
Yeah.
like audible. So really
That's
awesome
great.
stuff. So thank you guys. All right, so let's check where we're at on our poll results. So they're actually in. It was a tight race between hiring strategy and employer branding, but hiring strategy is pulling ahead with 37.5% of the votes for the win. So that's what the viewers are planning on using it for, hiring strategy, which
Makes
I think
sense.
makes a lot of sense,
Yeah.
right? Like that's a
Yeah.
win, mission accomplished there. So thank you both for joining us. I really appreciate all of the information about the solution. It's fantastic. Congratulations on all the work. And with that, we are going to turn it over to Romaine, who is sitting down with Dr. Ran Handy for an interview. So stay tuned.